ground. Then I grab another chord to make a good sound. Then I work another chord for what's called a turnaround. Anybody can play guitar. Just look at me. Now if you bought that game, you're plugging the TV, you know the one that makes you look like a player like me. Remember, TVs are for movies and news.
And welcome to episode 6 of Anybody Can Play Guitar. Episode 6 is going to be a review of episodes 1 through 5. First, before we start, let me give you one fact that there is no known documented inventor of the guitar. That's one. And also, no one ever completely masters the guitar in every aspect. So are you ready? Anybody can play guitar. Okay, episode 1. This is the way the guitar is tuned. By the way, if you're interested in playing guitar, make yourself one of these. It'll really help you in your playing. Now I'm going to show you the G major and the C major chords. These are movable chords. That means you can move it all over the place. Anywhere on the neck, it'll still be a major chord. It'll just have a different name. So we're going to start at G, 3rd fret, 6th string. That's your G major chord. Could you show me a G major chord? Okay. Now the first finger, see that curve there? That's where your first finger goes. The second dot you see coming down the fretboard is where your middle finger goes, and your 3rd and 4th fingers goes on those next 2 dots. So that other thing to the right, that's also a G major. Second finger goes on the 6th string, your root of your chord, just like the first. If you notice anything similar, that's the similarity. That's G major. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is go to C major. C major is very easy. The one of these configurations you're going to see, it's going to be kind of hard. But C major is the one to your left, first finger, and you're going to skip 1 fret and use your 3rd finger, your ring finger, and play a C major chord. See, the way to remember these at G and C at the 3rd fret is go and C. There's other ways to remember how to play these things, but like I say, if you have a chart you can make one. The C major chord to the right is a different animal. Okay, this is the way the G major scale looks by fingering. This is the G major scale. Now remember, that's the way the fingering looks. That's the way the chord sounds. And what's so important about this is the way you hold your thumb in the back of the neck. Let's show what it looks like in the back of the neck right here. That's very important right there. See my thumb moving? You don't do it the right way, you're going to lose yourself. C major. C major scale. And don't forget the position of your thumb. Okay, now let's move along and see what it looks like on paper. See, there's C. Starts from C, ends on C. C. Major chords in the major scale, don't forget, all chords come from a chord formula. Okay, so episode 2, minor chords. Here's A minor. Here's D minor. The minor chord comes from a chord construction formula. And we start with the C scale. You notice the numbers at the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the C scale, no sharps, no flats. And what we're after is 1, 3, and 5 with the flatted third. One of the notes in this chord is flatted, and you'll see as we go along what I'm talking about. It's like an adult that's not an adult. A minor chord is a power chord. It still makes it sound. It's like 20 years old when you had to be 21. So let's straighten this thing out and get it in the screen here. And I'm going to have some of our special guests show the difference between a major and a minor chord coming right up. See that? Yeah, there the sound is. So you see there's a bar, that's called a bar chord. So there's a diminished sound in there. Remember episode 3? 7th chord. That's G major 7. That's C major 7, something I didn't want to spring on you yet. But here's C7, and there's another way to play C7. It's right here, C on the top. There's a C9, almost like a C7. Episode 4 was easy notes to play the blues. Remember that fingering pattern. These are the easy notes to play the blues with. See where that arrow is? When I play this is what you're looking at me play. Easy notes to play the blues. Episode 4. Let me show you. Here's your A7. I'm a guy that likes to use a 13th chord, so here's A13, okay? Easy note, play the blues. Remember? Now the whole thing looks like this for all the guys that play a little better than you. It looks like this. Like I said, make yourself one of these. After you learn your octaves, which I'm going to show you in a second, it'll be easier because you'll find something after an octave that the notes are shifting around in a different place, and you can have the same chord but a different position. We're going to graduate. Let's look at it this way. Not only are we going to learn the movable chord with the root on the 5th and 6th strings, but we're going to graduate to using that chord a different way later. So easy notes to play the blues, fingering pattern. Here's another way to play that A7, A13. A real A7 is right here. A7 is right here. Okay, now, let me show you, if you don't remember, the basic notes to play the blues. Okay, now, some people you can say you can play it with 4 notes, but it's best if you played from the general area where all the guitar players play, around the 7th chord. Okay. Okay, now, the reason I brought up octaves is because you can play an octave like this. So here's your F. Oh, that's your E. That's your A. Okay, sorry, I'm still here. Planet Earth. Okay, your basic notes to play the blues. Okay, so you right here, you playing this. So it's almost like playing this. Don't you get the idea now? Hey, anybody can play guitar. Just bear with me. You'll be just as goofy as I am. Okay. Okay, your fingering pattern. Let's call it a fingering pattern now. Now here, feast your eyes on all this. I realize all you guys are beginners, but this is the player's side right here. This is what I'm looking at. I'm looking down at this, and you're looking at me playing these. So here's, on here, this is G. See, G, G sharp, A sharp, B. So what you're looking at is what you're going to do when you get good enough at it. So this really goes a longer way. Matter of fact, what I'm showing you, there's some notes in between. As you get older at playing guitar, let me show you from here. From here to here, I'm going to show you from G to here. That's what you just heard. Neow, 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 neow. That right there. Okay. So I left out a note to make it easy for you to grasp the idea or whatever it is you got in your head to play that note later when you get better. So this is going to be like this. So listen to this. See, and the next one up, right there, look at it, string bend. See right here, these 4 notes here. And then you can have your basic notes to play the blues. Also, remember that note I'm not showing here? You can also play these, all this area in here. Every area, as long as you play G7. I showed you G13, here's a 7. Makes a difference. But here's what you're going to practice right here. I'm going to show you from A. I'm the guy that likes to play at A. Okay, oh yeah. Matter of fact, I did include this note just because it's A major, A7, that's the root of the chord. You know, this still helps the dominant feature in this chord. Oh, wait a minute. What is this? Okay. That's what you do with that. That makes it. You heard that song before. See, here on Anybody Can Play Guitar, you'll learn how to play blues things your friends won't teach you how to or tell you how to do. Episode 4 was easy notes to play the blues. Remember that fingering pattern. These are the easy notes to play the blues with. See where that arrow is? When I play this, this is what you're looking at me play. Easy notes to play the blues. Episode 4. That's a pretty good idea, huh? You'll learn faster on Anybody Can Play Guitar. You'll learn better on Anybody Can Play Guitar. So don't forget, don't give up on yourself. Anybody can play guitar. My favorite area. Sorry about those mistakes I made there, but episode 5, striking the strings. The subject this episode is going to be how you strike the strings, or plucking or picking technique. So I thought we'd have our guest later really exhibit what's going on. We have a special guest here. So I'm going to run through this real fast if I can, and hope you remember it out there in guitar land. So strum, that's a strum. Okay, that's another strum used with the fingers. We're going to go over this again. But when you're striking your strings, you're picking. You're picking. And so you see some guitar players, when you see them really blazing away on the guitars, you see it seems it looks like their hand is just doing this because it's called alternate picking. You, since you're a beginner, you just probably do the downstroke of the pick. But there's also an upstroke. No mystery about it. That's what that is. It looks like he's not even playing the guitar. That's because he's doing this. See, alternate picking. Down, up, down, up. Okay, here's a thing to practice when you're at home. You want to be good at this, right? Anybody can play guitar, okay? So everybody messes up every once in a while when they're practicing, even me. Okay, so here's how it looks. Okay, you think you can remember that at home? Okay, alternate picking. That's why it looks like the guitar player is only doing this. It only looks like this, but he's really doing this. That's chromatic. That's called chromatic. Okay, this is a G major 7. We'll get into that one day in the future. I'm sure of it. Gosh, we're at G. G major. C major. Okay, we'll always start from G for some god-awful reason. So let's move on to playing Texas style. We're working our way out. Watch. But see, they use finger picks for that. You can't do that when you're a beginner. Let me show you something else. This is a real classic thing right here. P-I-M-A. See? This is my hand right here. There's a P, there's an I-M-A. They don't include the pinky for some reason, but if you ever question a classical player and you see them use their little finger, something like that, there's a name for that, rascato, punteado, and stuff like that. Punteado is like with P-I-M-A, but when you're using the flamenco, you'll see he's really doing like that, and it gets into that fancy stuff called rascato and punteado. P-I-M-A, P-I-M-A. Up, down. This is a downstroke of the pick. This is upstroke of the pick. So when you see somebody really blazing away on the guitar, like I said earlier, episode 5, they're not just chopping down, they're see there. See there? So when you're got your blues thing going, and you really want to learn how to practice and play, so you're going to have your easy notes, fingering pattern. See, you won't have to. You're going to, this is a downstroke, that's a downstroke. So play the blues. Easy notes to play the blues. Hold it. Easy notes to play the blues. So when you're stroking away, don't forget you have a fingering pattern, but only use these notes till you progress. See, that's part of the part, you know, you don't want to do yet. Easy notes to play the blues. Right here. That's an easy note. That's an easy note. Okay.
Anybody can play guitar. Just look at me. Anybody can play guitar. Just look at me. Don't believe what I say. Just watch me and see. First I grab myself a chord, working from the sky to the ground. Then I grab another chord to make a good sound. Then I work another chord for what's called a turnaround. Anybody can play guitar. Just look at me. Now if you bought that game, you're plugging the TV, you know the one that makes you look like a player like me. Remember, TVs are for movies and news. Just watch me. You'll learn how to play the blues. Anybody can play guitar. Anybody can play guitar. Anybody can play guitar. Just look at me. Don't believe what I say. Just watch me and see. Now I can tell by the way the music spirit lingers. You want to learn how to work your fingers. If you're interested, patience is a key. You'll play guitar just like me. Anybody can play guitar. Anybody can play guitar. Anybody can play guitar. Just look at me. Don't believe what I say. Just watch me and see. Anybody can play guitar. Anybody can play guitar. Anybody can play guitar. Just look at me. Don't believe what I say. Just watch me.